Oh, heck, I left my vibrator on. Wait. Oh, that's the game. Hello, and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix, of Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game, and or get the news version earlier, then you can go to their Patreon, where it's $5 a month, $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, me and Ty had a heart-to-heart, in a way. It basically was just him saying that, still can't say what it is, but you know what? You have your values, you stuck to them. I'm proud of you. And we're gonna end it here. And Adrian's like, oh crap, I love him. Oh no, I lost him. And then he cried a bunch. And then he came back home with the help of Jay, completely exhausted, was going into one of those exhausted sleeps, and then his phone is buzzing. So, we're gonna reset my face and begin. Every fucking time. Torn from my slumber, I grumpily retrieved my phone from the bedside table and checked the caller ID. It was Don? Had he learned something? Curiously, I answered the call, holding the phone to my ear, since it was vibrating for the last 2 minutes. Hey. Oh, Adrian, is everything okay? Yeah. Why? You sounded strange when you answered. Almost like I woke you up, or something. Yep. Crap, I'm sorry. It's okay. Most people don't sleep at this time of day. I just had a rough day, that's all. I see. I hope everything was okay. Do you want me to call back another time? Nah, I'll let you off the hook if you tell me you've gotten something good for me. Well, I know you're half kidding, but, well... Eureka. This again? No, really this time. Eureka. Alright, spit it out. What's the Eureka for this time? I know where Spencer lives. Huh? You have his address? Or address? Well, technically no. There's no address, but I know exactly where it is. What? Remember that old building that got knocked down? The one with the hot springs were a part of? Yeah? I did all but give up on it. It's weird when they say they did everything but this. I also started checking something. I thought for sure that it was dead end, but then, something compelled me to take one last look. Oops, right, click on this. Something? Yeah, never mind that. So, I started comparing the paperwork for the demolition against other similar properties, just see if anything stood out. As it would happen, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Everything looks good. On paper, that was. But all the other properties showed up in future records, even after their demolition. But that old building is as though it disappeared into thin air. Not a single thing. So I pulled a bunch of satellite photos of the Woodcrest area. Wouldn't you know it, every single one had cloud cover in the exact same location. Typical, right? But at closer inspection, the clouds didn't look like the others. It was close, but... Steam from the hot springs, maybe? It's geothermally active area. That crossed my mind, but no. They were nowhere near as thick or as big. A slight haze over a general area, and the occasional plume from the vent were here and there. Nothing like that. To me it looked fake. And weirder yet, the cloud was identical in every photo. Huh? What could that mean? It means somebody took a crash course in image manipulation software, created a fake cloud, and swapped it over that specific region on each and every satellite photo on record. It's the same on every public map and GPS service too. There's always a cloud there, And it's always the same one. Sloppy. So someone is trying to conceal something? Exactly. The building, a manor to be exact, older than Woodcrest itself, stricken from every record and legally demolished. But not physically. It's still there. How do you know if you can't see it on the photos? This is the genius part. This whole arm of the investigation, pure accident. Axel was showing me some photos he took on the camping trip. He took a heap, and here's a bunch from the return trip, taken in just the right location, at just the right altitude, at just the right time of day. I guess you can see, in the middle of the trees, in the far distance, it stands out like a sore thumb. It's encircled by a thick forest that couldn't be visible from, well, pretty much anywhere in Woodcrest. That one specific location, like it is fate. You know, now that you remind me, we stopped briefly to admire the view on the return trip. You could see all of Woodcrest from there. It was an incredible view, and Russell had to peel Axel away. But Ty, he was distracted by something. Something surrounded by gentle haze in the northern side of town. Seriously? What else other than the hot springs are up there? Maybe he saw it himself? That's gotta be what he was looking at. It could be a coincidence, but all the same, it's a very strange one. Still, I'd be willing to bet that's where Spencer lives. Sounds like the best lead we've gotten so far. I didn't see any entrance though. The trees were so thick, I doubt I could squeeze through from the hot spring side. Really? I'm not sure how thick trees would have to grow for you to not be able to move through them, unless they were like scratchy bushes or something. If Spencer lives there, he's gotta get in and out somehow. Maybe be rake thin, but even he couldn't fit through any gaps we've seen so far. So it's just a matter of finding the right spot. Also, is it weird that you're trying to find your ex's possible ex-lover? Just saying. I couldn't believe it. Dharma genuinely managed to track Spencer down. Or would this lead to another dead end? Nonetheless, all we could think about was finding the answers. Perhaps those answers would be the key to turn things around. I'm gonna head there right now. Are you coming? Now? What's the hurry? I just want some answers. And I'm not doing anything else anyway. I might as well, right? Sure, but it's just Eric and me while Lucas is having a bunch of meetings. Apparently Cutter is trying to swipe the big contract we've got coming up, and Lucas is doing everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen. Without him, we're running behind. Eric is pulling his weight, amazingly, but there's no way we're finishing our work while the sun is up. It would have been perfect timing too, but Axel being out of town, I could have done so without arousing suspicions. Thanks. I feel like you could delay this. He's out of town, but didn't you watch the tournament with Russell this morning? Yeah, they went to see that bear we met yesterday. He left shortly after, off to his parents. He does this every few weeks. Would have been perfect timing if Cutter hadn't been acting up again, as usual. Of course, if Jay had fought around that morning, no doubt Logan would have too. But, oh no, I kept him so late. I hoped, prayed that I hadn't ruined things for him. Logan, right? Did Axel happen to mention how it went? Mention? He wouldn't shut up about it. Took some big Rottweiler down 3-0, apparently. Guy was a total monster. Axel think he was even bigger than Lucas. Yet, he still didn't stand a chance. I felt a sense of relief, knowing that Logan had still won this fight. Despite seeming so sweet and so kind in the ring, Logan sounded completely terrifying. But anyway, enough about that. Come to think of it, Diego's working till late tonight too, isn't he? You're right. Wouldn't... would you mind if I went alone then? Alone? No, but it could be dangerous as all. There's still a lot we don't know about Spencer. I know, but strangely, he's always been very kind to me. He's doing deep breath, sorry. Somebody's texted me a whole bunch. Or maybe just because, stuff. I don't know, I guess. I just don't think he's gonna hurt me or anything. Sorry, it's like, work and other stuff. Even if he just walked up to his clearly deliberate hidden house and noticed. Come on, Adrian. There's a reason it's hidden. I'd bet my right nut it's bad news. You're starting to sound like Diego. What happened? You were more neutral before. That was before I found out he faked the demolition. He's gotta have a reason for doing that. Well, I'll be sure to let you know if I find out. You're seriously going? I'm seriously going. Alright. It sounds like I can't talk you out of this. Just keep in touch, okay? Let me know how things go. And that you're safe. Will do. Wish me luck. Good luck, Adrian. Try not to die, okay? I sure will try. Later, Dom. Eureka indeed. Despite Dom's discovery being made from a number of unfounded assumptions, it somehow made perfect sense with everything we knew so far. I was aware that it might not be a bombshell we'd hoped for, but at least it might provide some much-needed answers. And what he said about something having compelled him to check again? A detail Dom seemed all too ready to glaze over, as though there was something he was not telling me, combined with his hesitation towards me going alone. Maybe I was only imagining things. Surely Dom wouldn't have allowed me to go if he knew I would be in danger? Nonetheless, his quick dismissal of the topic was suspicious to say the least. Suspicious enough that I found myself re-evaluating my next move. Pah, who was I kidding? This was the best lead I had since, well, ever. And how things had been tying me, and just how much I had come to regret what might have been brash overreaction. This lead could be my only shot of turning things around. Yeah, for you being called it by the cops. I knew not what lay ahead in the coming hours. Maybe it was fraught with danger. Maybe I wouldn't learn the truth. Maybe I would, but the truth was something that I wouldn't like. Regardless of the outcome, there's one thing I knew for certain. For some unknown reason, I had a good feeling about this. It was a dark and stormy night. Dom had been right on the money, having spent nearly half an hour looking for anything that might betray a hidden entrance. I almost lost hope when the sight of a seemingly trodden grass and a small branch bent at an unusual angle led to a well-disguised, narrow, and overgrown pathway. Having followed that pathway to its eventual outlet, I came face to face with exactly what I'd been searching for, an ancient manor, tucked deep within Woodcrest northern forests, a manor which should not have existed, a manor we believed to be the residence of one particular elusive raven. When I departed Diego's house, I was fired up, determined to find answers to those unanswered questions, and potentially even correct my trajectory with Ty. I don't know, man. This was, of course, assuming such thing were possible, that it wasn't already too late. Alas, the journey had taken considerable time, and which permitted my mind to wander and reflect on my scenario and other recent happenings, and it had come to reveal several conclusions, some of which were rather uncomfortable. No matter what Ty's secrets were, there were things he could have said and done to avoid this outcome. Perhaps he had meant well, but if so, that made him an idiot. And if not, well... But I knew that I had behaved in a way that was unbecoming of me as well. Reflecting on what had happened that night, I had a mere sliver of information, a tiny piece of larger conversation. And, without any further context, I went nuclear. I knew I'd been acting strangely before that, but I still had no idea as to why, or even if that behavior had been to blame for the blatant overreaction. Regardless, I knew my frustration towards my constant, involuntary ignorance was very real indeed. And now, here I stood, a short distance from what we anticipated to be Spencer's residence, driven here by the very forces that might have spurred the actions responsible for ending my fledgling relationship. I had applauded to the fact that I had stood up for myself and held firm line, which means he would want me to come here and stalk his ex. But to me, my newfound determination was more of a curse, and, in the moment of clarity as I stood at this very spot, I wondered if being here would become just another one of my many mistakes to add to the pile. Perhaps Spencer was dangerous after all. Perhaps, in being here, I was foolishly risking my life. He wouldn't have gone through all this effort to maintain his veil of secrecy without good reason. Alas, I knew it was foolish. But there, in that very moment, I could not see any other way forward. My heart bled profusely, my emotional wounds causing such distress that stemmed the flow and became my only priority. And learning the truth, that was my light at the end of the tunnel. Somewhere deep down, I knew it was almost certainly in vain. That what was done could never be undone. But in my desperation, I was willing to take the chance. In my suffering, I was fully prepared to die trying. Whether that soothing light will be the radiant glow of a happy future by Ty's side, or the freight train coming my way, or just freight train coming my way. I knew that, with time, my pain would fade, and with it, so would my propensity to take such crazy risks. But that would have been then, and this is now. And in the now, I will do whatever I had to. Whatever unlikely shot there was at easing my pain, at changing my fate, even those efforts were almost certainly in vain. At long last, I approached what appeared to be the front door of the manor, though there were many points of entry strewn about the vast perimeter of the building, that knowing on which to knock seemed borderline impossible. The large wooden door, towering above the set of antiques brickwork and well endowed with elaborate metal trim, stemming from as good as a bed as any. I rapped my knuckles on the distinctly ornate door as my anxious heart began to make its presence known. It evoked a bizarre sense of déjà vu, as memories of the nights before came flooding back. At least this time, I wasn't planning to sleep with the occupant. I wasn't planning to sleep on them. I chuckled to myself. I can read! My vile sense of humor, knowing little restraint as I raised my knuckle once again. My knuckles throbbed somewhat, their recurrent impact on the solid wood causing minor discomfort. Yet, not like the first attempt, my subsequent knocking garnered no response. Thus, I began to circle the manor, inspecting each and every door, while peering through every window. It wasn't long before I came to an obvious realization. The weather outside was dire, and the relentless rain, accompanied by the frequent and blinding flashes of light, with their subsequent thunderous booms, followed closely behind. Within the manor, I hadn't spotted a single light, with every room concealed by a blanket of darkness. I knew that ravens weren't typically nocturnal species, thus lacking the ability to see well in the dark environments. It was just my luck. I'd come all this way, facing torrential downpour on the journey up to the manor, only to find its resident unaccounted for. I sighed. It was just my luck. But a small setback, as that would not be enough to defeat me. I grabbed a rock and chucked it at the window to break in. Instead, I scanned my surroundings for shelter, eventually locating a large tree situated on the southern side of the property. If I sat behind it, I would both be sheltering myself from the harsh conditions or conceal myself from view. It was perfect. I smiled to myself, thankful for the shift in my fortune, as I approached the tree, positioning myself in its rear, and easing down upon the damp grass that wrapped around the circumference of the trunk. I didn't rightly know how long I would be waiting, but I got comfortable in preparation for the worst-case scenario. I retrieved my phone, wiping the damp screen with a similarly damp sleeve, a futile act which achieved little. With a mostly unbothered shrug, I began to surf social media and check out the latest entertainment news. Boy, was I glad that I had forked out extra for the water-resistant handset. I knew not how much time had passed. An hour, perhaps? Maybe 2. As yet, there was no sign of Spencer, although I had hoped I had not merely missed him during one of many moments where I caught myself nodding off. Despite my shelter and harsh, unpredictable winds, and shaking the leaves and branches above, drenching me time and time again. In addition, I frequently fell victim to spray that had missed my leafy canopy entirely. Perhaps even worse yet, it was an uncomfortably chilly mid-autumn day, with no sun to warm my surroundings. I shivered again and again, with no way to warm myself. Each time my mind suggested return home, I violently put the idea to rest. Nothing would stop me. I didn't care if I got sick, or worse. Nothing would stop me. Nonetheless, I needed to warm myself up somehow. Thus, I returned my phone to my pocket and climbed to my feet, deciding to once more walk the perimeter of Spencer's residence. Perhaps I'd missed something last time? A wonky justification, but in truth, I didn't really need one to begin with. As I walked, I once again made a point to peer inside every window and check each door. A largely uneventful process that returned nothing unexpected. That was, until I gave a smaller wooden door on the building's north face a gentle push. Spooky. It was strange, because I knew that I tried that door the last time I patrolled the manor. Had Spencer arrived home without me noticing? Was there another entrance to the grounds? Or perhaps he'd seen me coming and slipped away when I'd not been looking? The specifics didn't really matter. What mattered is that I had a means to gain entry. Perhaps I would not be able to ask Spencer directly, but perhaps I'd find the answers I was looking for within the residence ahead. I hoped and prayed that he would not catch me rummaging through his personal effects, and if he did, I desperately hope that he would take pity on this cold, wet husky. This musky husky. I took a deep breath before stepping across the threshold, my crime of trespassing suddenly escalating to a whole new level. Closing the door behind me, I held oh yeah, you can see stuff in here. I held position for several moments, waiting for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. Besides the surroundings of the torrential downpour, outside an occasional bloom of furious thunder, the interior of the manor was suspended in deathly silence. And that was the question. Should I cut it early here because, we're inside the area, and also my personal time's a tad bit short. And looking at my more recent videos, let's see. 28 minutes, okay. 31 minutes, 40, and an hour. It's just kind of the thing where it's like, could I do it? It is a scene change. I mean, I guess we can. Sorry. But, if you want to know what happens next, instead of waiting a week, you can get this game. Play all the way through. What was the game that I was thinking of where it was like you could do that, but then there's a whole bunch of stuff happening? Was it Shelter or was one that I was doing recently? It's really realistic because I was doing it. It was Chemo Coliseum, that's it. Because it's like, well, in that one you have to play a whole bunch of duels. Just saying. So, that's going to be the end of this Let's Play. So, please comment. Guys, I like comments. Don't you like dislike? Tipstricks otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like see grow, then please like, subscribe, and share the rest of Epic Grown. Please remember to your animals having control the pet population. I am going to make a cup of tea because I'm thirsty. It's a workout day. So I sweat a lot, lots of bodily functions happen, and, you know, all that stuff. So, oh, and did I say if you want to play this game, free on itch.io, but if you want to support people make the same or get it earlier, Patreon, $5 a month, $54 a year. And until next time, let's play. GamerWolfSix, Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Also, this is realistic right now. I had to take my headphones off and be like, is it raining today? It ain't. Anyways, thanks and see ya.